But ain't nobody talking about why you can't have terrorists here in our country. It is why, with every single time that we mention Iran, Alex, am I right on this? Every time we've done a read about Iran, every time we've done a story about it, we are constantly telling people here in our homeland to keep your head on a swivel. What has been done to our country? What has been done to the demographics of our country, the harmony of our country, the social health of our country is a crime against humanity. We used to have a country that believed in itself because we had a common cause. The vast majority of the country was Christian, something to the effect of like 90+%, all the way up until like the 80s, 90s. The vast majority of the country, by design, shared a similar heritage, similar value system, shared a common language. We did not have an influx of foreign and alien ideologies into our country because that makes for a bad country. And that's the point of immigration, is actually to keep alien ideologies from creating friction and to disrupt a harmonious system in your nation. You can't have harmony when mothers feel scared to walk their kids down the street. It's a very simple test. Do you feel like you can take your kid to the public park in your town? Now, this is a test that can be passed or failed, depending on where you live. But this is the test of, do you have a functional society? Do you live in a functional town? If your public park is filled with piss-soaked vagrants and bums, if your public park is filled with out-of-work degenerates sitting around smoking weed, if your public park, which is the intention of the point of your public park, the point of a public space like that, is for the flourishing of families, so the American government can have more taxpayers born and bought in, so we can run a country, and not a welfare state for the third world, field an army, have resources, create great minds, continue our people and our great story, our incredible story, the most incredible people to ever live, quite frankly, I would argue, like without a doubt. Like America in the last 250 years, the most incredible nation and people to ever live. Stand proud, be proud. The purpose of that place and your neighborhood and where you're raising your kids is security, safety, and to ensure that we can make more Americans. If your parks, like in every single big city, in every single Democrat city, I live in a big city, I live in Tampa, our parks are immaculate. You can eat off them. You never see a bum. You never see a degenerate. Somebody starts smoking weed, they'll be run off by like the dads. Dads will get their belts off, whipping people. Seriously, it'll happen. I mean, I've watched it happen, actually. Like, people don't tolerate it around here. I live in a town filled with like cops and like veterans, military people. It's where CENTCOM is. Anyway, what's the point? The point is that what happened in New York this past weekend, and we didn't have a show yesterday, so we didn't really cover it, but perhaps you could grab me a photo or two, I'm sure we have it in the show, is children of first generation, I believe, legal immigrants, but brought over here from foreign lands with foreign and alien cultures, incongruent and inharmonious with Western civilization, decided to throw bombs, nail bombs. I call them an IED, okay? That would be the wartime description of the IED. These terrorists, 18 and 19 years old, these terrorists were radicalized by ISIS and threw bombs at a peaceful protest. There's a peaceful protest against Islam. If you can't protest Islam, it's not America. Okay? Then our founding documents mean nothing. You have a right, and if you feel it in your heart, an obligation to protest Islam in our country. Like, it's America. Oh, I thought this was America. It is. And that's what's going on in New York. There's an anti-Islam protest. Okay, totally, like, absolutely that's allowed. And frankly, it should be encouraged in a free society. People protest all the time. Sometimes you disagree, sometimes you agree, whatever. It is what it is. You shouldn't die in your protest. And that's what the ISIS Islamists who were legally brought over here, who were coddled by our nation in order to create a circumstance where they would throw the bomb, where they would throw these bombs. Oh, we got better photos than that, boys. Where they would take these bombs and throw them at a protester. So this is like exactly the point that we've been making. There's like an unbelievable series of photos here, and also an unbelievable video, my favorite video of all time. A lib screaming, "We need more tolerance, we need more tolerance," as the bomb is literally thrown over his head. There, here it is. Perfect. Thank you, boys. We need more tolerance. We need more tolerance. We love and tolerate people. Listen.
Everyone here to stay in New York. You don't get to come from outside and then tell everyone else.
Yeah, this nigga threw a bomb, bro. Yeah, he threw a bomb.
Screaming, like, so white lib sitting there with a bullhorn saying, "We need tolerance. We need to bring in more outsiders," as a guy yells "Allahu Akbar" and throws a nail bomb, an IED. By the way, the authorities have determined that these bombs contained a very potent explosive. They weren't just dummy bombs. They weren't just glass jars filled with nails. That's bad enough. They contained real explosives, and a real shout out to the NYPD officers. You can see here in this sequence of photos, the officers who, by the way, like, were the ones who had to apprehend. They're all black. So it's like amazing how the Black Lives Matter conversation like collapses when it's a black cop and a nail bomb thrown by an ISIS Muslim teen. It's remarkable. Insane photos. Check out these black cops. Like, the bomb is rolling around at their feet. It's frankly, it's them. It's these cops, these officers right here, who are the most at threat. Yet you hear nothing from these people. You hear nothing from feminists about Iran. You hear nothing from the BLN crowd about these cops. They're not going to be venerated. There's not going to be t-shirts with their faces on them. There should be. Look at this. You hear no one disavows these individuals, these terrorists, these homegrown terrorists. And this is why you need to have the full conversation. Yes, terrorism is bad in Iran. It's way worse here in our country. How do you get rid of terrorism here in our country? You stop bringing in absolute hero right here. Look at this. The officer runs towards the danger. He hopped up. He hopped the fence. He jumped the fence. I think we know this officer's name, if we could. This officer jumped the fence to chase down the ISIS terrorist. Chief Aaron Edwards wears blue. God bless you, Chief Aaron Edwards. The guy throws a nail bomb at him, an IED. The little Muslim terrorist throws an IED at this black cop, and the cop charges him, chases after him, beats him down. What have we said on this program before? Like, this is, by the way, compatible with the raw teachings of Islam, because you're not allowed, of course, to insult the prophet. You're not allowed, like, what was happening is Jake Lang was posting an anti-Islam protest. If you read the actual scriptures, if you read the actual commands, Muslims aren't supposed to tolerate that. And depending on how you interpret it, and there's plenty of interpretations. I don't pretend to be some scholar. But, like, free speech isn't allowed. That's been made very, very clear from Charlie Hebdo all the way through. Obviously, so many terrorist attacks, you can't count them all, name them all. Free speech is not allowed. Free association, not allowed. Freedom of religion, not allowed. So, like, why should we shouldn't be surprised when this happens. Because